Hi, I'm getting used to using a camera and not having somebody that I'm talking to. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about trauma bonding. It is just a quick, short video just to talk about a subject which entraps a lot of people. So, let's talk about trauma bonding, or rather, love in the war zone. You know those relationships where you feel like you're starring in your own tragic romance, except no one's filming, and there's no soundtrack, and the plot is just you crying in the kitchen again. Yes, let's talk about that. Because when it comes to trauma bonding, we tend to think it's about some mysterious magnetic pull, when really it's your nervous system playing Russian roulette with your heart. You can't avoid it, it's just part of your conditioning. You've always been set up to do this. So this is the setup. A trauma bond forms when pain and pleasure get served on the same plate. 1 minute you're being criticised, ignored, maybe even humiliated. The next, they're holding your face in their hands, whispering, I love you, how much you mean to them. That switch is addictive. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it's often used during torture. It's the same principle that keeps gamblers at the slot machine. You don't know when the payoff is coming, but when it does, it hits like champagne in your veins. Wonderful. However, be prepared. This is dangerous for you, because our system is not built to cope with this. It rewires your brain to crave the person who's hurting you. You start to measure love by how much chaos you can survive. Your standards sink quietly in the background, like your Wi-Fi signal, until you can't even remember what a stable connection feels like. You tell yourself, but there are good times too. Of course there are. They're just the bait. Without them, you'd have walked out months ago, or years ago. The good moments are the hook. The bad moments are the line. And together they reel you in and you become food. But don't get me wrong, it's also dangerous for them. Because here's the twist. Trauma bonding isn't just bad for the person being hurt. It's bad for the person doing the hurting. They're conditioned already to do this. And as long as the cycle keeps working, they never have to face themselves. They don't have to grow, self-reflect, or risk the terrifying possibility of intimacy without control. They become dependent on the dance. They need you to need them, which means the relationship is built on quicksand for both of you. The only way to get through this is to understand the machine, understand the process, understand the lack of control that both people have. The most powerful thing you can do isn't to shame yourself or them, it's to see the mechanics at work. See the machines, see the functioning, see the cogs and wheels and everything. That high you feel after you make up, it's chemistry, not destiny. That sense of no one else gets me like they do, that's isolation talking, not truth. That belief you just need to try harder, that's the gambler pulling the lever one more time. When you can name the pattern, it loses some of its magic. It's like watching the magician shove the rabbit into the hat. The trick stops working. You see the man behind the Wizard of Oz. This is a shift in perspective. Think of it like this. You're not in a grand star-crossed love story. You're in a system, a predictable, repeatable, draining system. And the most subversive, liberating thing you can do is step out of the script. Not with a dramatic mic drop and flaunt out, not with a burning letter on the doorstep, or something worse, I've heard of worse, just with clarity. Because once you see the pattern, the spell cracks, and when the spell cracks, you get to decide if you want to keep living the same chapter, or start writing a better one. Maybe with this person, maybe with somebody else, but a better one that suits you rather than your conditioning. So, trauma bonding isn't proof you're deeply in love. It's proof you've been deeply trained by parents, by society, by everybody. And once you know that, the training can be undone slowly, quietly, and powerfully. And the next time someone serves you pain and pleasure on the same plate, you'll know enough to push it back and say, no thanks, I've eaten here before, I don't like the food. I'm sure that your choices and decisions will be different in the future, because you'll no longer be driven by this conditioning, the conditioning of pain, the conditioning of the trap between pleasure and pain. You feel one, and so you'll tolerate the other. No. Why do you need to do that? You don't. You need to value yourself, and that means having pleasure without the pain. So, good luck with that, and let's hope that it helps.